Hello everyone, I'm CZ Lumen and this is StarCraft 2. What I have for you here looks like to be an interesting matchup. If the replay information is correct, we have a lot of variety of units that are your way. In the bottom right hand corner we have the Red Terran, or not, sorry. We have Sevi playing as the Red Protoss. And in the upper left hand corner we have a name that I have no idea how to pronounce, but they are playing as the Blue Terran Forces. Now from here on out, when I do call out numbers such as worker comparisons or army comparisons, the first number is going to be the Red Protoss player, with the second number being the Blue Terran. So when I say 16 workers to 15, that means that the Protoss has 16 workers with the Terran playing as 15 workers. Protoss is taking a little bit of an economic lead here. The early game does have a little bit bigger of a difference, but looks like both sides are balancing out pretty well. And we're going to see if anybody takes any kind of shenanigans or any kind of lead. Looks like both sides are going to be equalizing out on both the worker count, and Protoss just a little bit behind on... Okay. I was watching, it's like, well, I'm seeing probes actually harvest gas, but it doesn't seem like anything's going on. Protoss isn't walling up, but they are going in for a pretty fast second expansion. But beyond that, I'm a little surprised about the lack of wall off, though, because normally, I mean, when you wall off, that gives you the ability to at least hide that information against your opponent. And in this case, this person is opting to build a wall off. I'm not even sure what to really make of this. I believe this is a Master versus Diamond player, so I'm not entirely sure what this strategy is going on here. We do have a Cybernetics core coming up with a gateway, so that gateway can be turned into a warpway. We have a pylon here. Yeah, I'm really curious as to why this person isn't necessarily walling off in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, there's the warp gate coming up. We now have a Reaper coming in here to start doing some pretty good harassment. An Adept is coming along, or is being warped in here, which is going to help against this one-shotting the Reaper after the probe gets some work done. 3 probes do go down, so that is a pretty good trade for the Reaper. I mean, a Reaper coming in and knocking out 3 probes, that's a little bit of economic damage there. Worker count, that sets the Protoss back a little bit. Since those probes take a little over a minute to pay for themselves, bringing in 40 minerals per minute when there is 2 or 1 workers per mineral patch. So we do have a good wall off for the Terran player, although it looks like this Shade is going to come in here and do a pretty good job revealing all of the information that the Terran is having underway. So no plans are going to be kept secret between these two players, and we do have a Cyclone here that is just poking at that little Adept. The Adept does get 2 workers down, but again, both sides are equalizing their economies, 26 and 25, with nothing. I'm surprised. Like, I normally don't see a Cyclone get built first, but I also don't even normally see a bunker get built here. So this is interesting. We're going to have a pretty interesting wall off here, it seems. I would say that putting the bunker up ahead is on the smarter side of things, because having the bunker get attacked before the supply depots or anything is usually preferable, but a siege tank does come up, will allow, like, it hits just right on the edge of that vision, meaning that the vision or anything that does come in here is going to get hit by that siege tank splash damage. So good little positioning there. Third, we do have a third Nexus or third expansion coming up for the Protoss player. Forge is being built after 3 gateways have been established. I wonder what kind of fight's going to go on here. Like I said, the unit diversity was pretty high in this game, so I'm going to speed up just a little bit because this is somewhat on the boring side. We do have that little bit of excitement with how the bases are being built, and kind of just a little bit of a different building setup here. Barracks is up on that line with 2 supply depots and a missile turret, so nothing stealthy is going to be coming in through here. So if an observer does try to basically like see what's going on, or a Dark Templar, they are going to get spotted and stopped. We do have sentries or stalkers on the field here, though. So Protoss definitely has the map control. Whether or not they know it is another story. And, whew, boy, that was rough. I believe stalkers could actually jump over this, which would pretty much neutralize, like we even see here, a good observer, good detection would allow the Protoss to be able to be aware of this, but that means that all of these tanks would be able to unsiege and then just go to town. But stalkers are investigating, seeing what they can, see if there's any kind of proxy shenanigans or cheese or anything like that. Command center being placed here does prevent stalkers, I believe, from being able to leap up here. I think there's just that little bit of a gap that would give them the ability to come up here and basically just do a little bit of a hit and run, but or some shooting and scooting. We do have some forces, a little bit of a skirmish here. Stalkers making themselves known, with Terran just expanding that siege tank capabilities. What do we have here? Here's about like what side double immortal production is coming on the way. 55 to 47 workers. Protoss does take that little bit of an economic lead, even though it's 36 to 40 army supply. That fully depends if that army supply only really matters if the entire army is actually doing something. But siege tanks are definitely not something that you want to really break through. So we have a bit of a no man's land, or not no man's land, but good kind of defense on the Terran side to just really create a solid deterrence for those stalkers. But those stalkers do manage to find just a little bit of a sneaky, just the sneaky little area to attack this command center and get it to really actually bring it down quite a bit and threaten it. Smart move on the Protoss side of things, and just delaying that mining as much as possible, which is smart. We have the Protoss building up the fourth side of things, or the fourth expansion, really giving that economic lead and building up a lot of immortals. And I would like to see some sentries in here that would just give it that a little bit of bonus to shields or to defense if they attack here. But here we go, there's the Thors. Both sides really just teching up as much as possible, and we're going to be seeing some end game tech on the battlefield here pretty quick, it looks like. Yeah, there's that unit diversity that I was talking about. Full mech army for the Terran player, and trying to expand as much as possible, playing very much on the defensive. We are seeing just a little... Is this a battle or a skirmish? I want to say... I'm not really sure what to really call this. We have a poke by the Protoss player, actually making some pretty good headway, knocking out the... really just actually obliterating that entire tank line. These immortals are something to be underestimated constantly. I mean, and when you see like the Protoss army, you'll see just a few units, but yeah, it's just a small army. But I mean, that was pretty gnarly. I want to go back here and really take a look at this. Let's take a look from the Terran side of things. Yeah, okay. So the Terran has no idea what's going on here. Basically happily building up here, playing SimCity. Sees the Immortals come in. 3 Immortals. It has all these tanks and forces, but getting attacked by 2 sides here. Immortals doing a really good job just cutting down these mech units and really opening up that defense against the Terran.
SCVs are under attack. Mineral field depleted.
Nicely done by the Protoss here, just cleaning that up. And really, this pushes the Terran to now play on the defensive and bring all their forces up to the front center here to try to handle this. And this is not something you want to survive for as long as possible. So, good job on on the Protoss side of things to get the Terran to be a little bit more, or stay reactive, spend some money. I wonder who lost the most on that. Protoss did come out behind in the last factor here, so playing defensively is paying off for the Terran. Arguably. With an extra base up here, though, that can backfire for the Terran. Because when you are ahead on the economy side of things, you can actually take those losses. And if you are containing your enemy pretty well and counterplaying, then the battles up to the last battle don't matter. It's the last battle that really does matter. This Immortal getting overwhelmed and repelled by aliens. It actually does sound kind of funny to me. Hellions taking out an Immortal. I mean, that's just got the Liberator here, just picking off the probes in the back line. Protoss is doing a not doing a great job actually holding this off. And the Protoss does seem to have a better army up here, like, or better counter, I want to say. But Terran does have a larger force, 56 to 75. 64 to 63 workers, really keeping on that balance there. Only 3 bases to 4 bases, so, you know, take that with a grain of salt. Protoss is expanding better. Another command center is coming up. A lot of siege tanks, so this is really fortified mechanized army with plenty of widow mines, just preventing any kind of run-bys or quick run-bys here. Terran's really just mining out this base as much as possible. Where's the barracks? There's a barracks. Yeah, the barracks is just used as a just as part of the wall. Barracks was just an annoying thing that the Terran had to build in order to get factories. That's all it was. And even then, like, Liberators are coming out, but this is just a full-on mech army. Imagine if you didn't have to build a barracks. Like, how much that would change if the Terran was capable of actually just building a starport factory or whatever, like, right off the get-go. That would be a kind of a bit of a changer. A lot of Hellions coming here, threatening that 5th base for the Protoss player, and making a pretty good amount of work. Oh, that can be destroyed too. It's interesting seeing these doodads here, like, because you can destroy them, but what does that do? Like, is that a little area that you can actually populate if you destroyed it? I need to load up this map just so I can destroy the doodads just to see. They're called doodads, by the way, if they're on the map. Like all these little visual things here, which are pretty cool to look at. Carriers do hit the map, which I like to see. I like to see that Skytoss army. What do we got? Cool. This is I wonder if this is going to be, I believe this match lasts for 20 something minutes, but we're gonna find out. So there's definitely gonna be a few clashes before the major storm. This is not something you want to shake or want to ignore. That's, I mean, like, we have, look at this mechanized army. 93 to 126 army supply. Let's see. Let's go ahead and take.
Mineral field depleted.
So this is the Terran scouting out here. Protoss, on the other hand, they have a. We're going to see how effective those Thors are going to be against those Thors. I love seeing their perspective. So we have more carriers hitting the map as soon as possible. Really getting a good surround against this, but really this is, if those Thors cannot stand up against those carriers, this is going to be a very one-sided match, because as far as I know, tanks cannot shoot upwards. And in fact, that's all. Wow, those Thors just knocked that out, and that's it. That's not GG, is it? There's nothing to... Protoss has nothing to fight this. I'm gonna go back here. I want to see that. I want to do like a nice little battle breakdown. So we have these forces here, a lot of Hellbats and a lot of siege tanks supplied by 3. Did 3 Thors knock out those carriers? Because that's only... Okay, we do have Widow Mines, which can be absolutely devastating. Like that. That probe. What was it trying to build? It tried to build a pylon, like a scout pylon. And then it just gets completely obliterated. Yeah, doesn't even get canceled. It's just obliterated here. Slowed down just a little bit. I want to see this action play out. Stalkers blinking into position here. We have a long-range Tempest that's able to harass this as much as possible. The Widow Mines are deployed, so that's probably those are probably gonna get used up pretty quickly. I don't know how you'd really want to fight this. Protoss is at a slight disadvantage, 105 to 126 army supply in comparison, with one carrier is on the way. So we have a total of 4 carriers that are hitting the ground. I don't know if I'd want to like throw my units or forces at this right away as a Protoss player. I'm really surprised by how effective these Thors are at knocking out these carriers. Although these carriers do go in one at a time, which is definitely not what you want. Widow Mines are knocking out the fighters. Probably should have really created a fighting line and get those siege tanks to unsiege rather than what's going on here, because these siege tanks really do a good job just obliterating these forces, and these these Thors do an awesome job knocking out. Like, there is no concentration of fire against these Thors, and these Thors are the biggest threat here in my opinion, because if you can knock out the Thors, then you have this Tempest and these carriers being able to just destroy all of this without much of a problem. I mean, yeah, you're going to take damage as the Protoss, but that's the Thors are the threat, and it looks like these Stalkers are trying to get in position to focus fire on these Thors as much as possible. But these carriers are. It doesn't look like enough firepower is getting focused on here against these Thors. Yeah, that battle did not go well for the Protoss player. This is not what you want. Like, once those Thors do go down, that you only have this one Tempest to be able to really do much about it. And we do have this. This is going to be ugly. Do these Widow Mines actually knock this out? No. I feel like, okay. No way. Do these Widow Mines knock out this carrier? Yeah, okay, I was about to say, like, if these carriers go down with these Widow Mines, good job on the Widow Mines. One Tempest slowly whittling away this army that's just having fun blowing up as much stuff as they can over here. Even running away. I mean, like, yeah, you definitely need a little bit of anti-air support here. Widow Mines definitely doing a good job making sure, or just denying any of the probes. This probe going all the way around here to avoid those Widow Mines. I don't even think that was even a knowing attempt here to just like move away here. So 2 carriers are on the map, basically trying to knock out as many of these as possible. But yeah, wow, Protoss, that ×2 loss comparison, that's rough. That is a rough thing. Look at all these probes that ran away and are trying to make themselves useful. Carriers clean that up quite nicely. We do have a Thor here. Like, got to be one of the scariest things at Skytoss to see is the Thors and then Vikings. That's a lot of Thors. Great counterplay by the Terran player, recognizing those carriers as a threat. Is this going to be a Skytoss heavy army? Is the question. 49 to 68 workers, so Terran does have the economy behind this and is expanding appropriately to be able to counter carriers, believing that that is going to be the continued threat, which is basically what we see here. I don't know if, like, Terran has been scanning. Real quick, let's look at... Terran has been scanning this and actually sees carriers being on the production side. We have a lot of gateways here. But fleet beacon, yeah. I mean, you need a fleet beacon for carriers in Tempest, but this is the force that the Terran sees. Three Stargates moving or producing as much as possible. We do have a lot of gateways that can produce those Zealots if they have the economy, but they do not. Those carriers take a long time to build and are expensive, and those fighters are not cheap. I mean, 4 minerals each, they do add up. I mean, 24 fighters have gone down here so far. So like four each, so that's 88. I mean, that just adds to that token there, but here we go. This little like Skytoss expedition here, seeing what they can take care of. Deny, yep, canceled, and deny this patch up here a little bit, but this does basically recall the Terran player to bring his forces go from an offensive position where they were slowly coming down here back to a defensive posture, and they need to, because these take a long time to move around the map, and there's like no medivacs to be able to do any kind of ferrying around. But this is not enough carriers to knock out these Thors. And these Thors are able to attack both ground and air targets. They are an equal threat to pretty much everything that is on the map. You do not want to go against Thors. I really wish Zerg had something like this. I feel like Zerg have Hydralisk. What else do they have? Hydralisk and Mutalisk are basically the only real options of like the Omni Force that they can attack. Because you have Corruptors, but Corruptors really are only against like anti-air, but Broodlords are only anti-ground. Yeah, still gonna bring this up. I feel like Broodlords should be able to attack air units as well for how expensive they are and stuff. But yeah, Terran is definitely this is if you're the Protoss player, this is absolutely terrifying to see. Like, what do you Zealots? Is this a call for Zealots? Yep. I think that's a good play. Hellbats are going to make those Zealots' lives hell. I do believe Zealots do count as light units, which Hellions these guys just, they do bonus damage too. Any +1 bonuses like actually add to that. These carriers are not yeah. What a rough game for the Protoss here. I thought it would be a little bit more exciting, but honestly, that was just really good counterplay by the Terran forces, creating that really good defensive line, defending their forces really well. That one attack came in here and knocked out the Protoss economy and really got a lot of work done, as well as knocked down the Protoss forces. As the Protoss transitioned into a Skytoss as much as possible, just did not have the economy to really back that up because of what happened there. So, and like even here, like the Terran just was able to outproduce the enemy or the Protoss really well. I don't know if Protoss is aware that yeah, just a really fortified position here. Having to go against a planetary fortress plus these missile turrets is not something you want to do. Even though it does look like the back line here, I mean, carriers moving back here and then just attacking the rear of the Terran might have been preferable. It would have taken a long time for these mechanized units to be able to go back here and deal with that, as basically you can just like go through and do a run by and attack as much as possible. And actually attack the economy, the Terran economy, might have been preferable to this. But these sensor tower here would have helped alerted the Terran of that. So not a lot of options here for the Protoss. Tell me what you think. This seems like a good play by the Terran player, countering those carriers. If you were the Protoss, how would you have dealt with this? Starting with seeing all those the siege tanks and seeing Terran go into really just a mech army. How do you counter Thors? I would say it's probably Immortals, a lot of Immortals and Zealots, being able to have to deal with this. But could you, in this situation, do you think you'd be able to continue with a Skytoss army and fight against this? And how would you do it? And I will see you in the next video.